I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting this because I wanted to give you all a chance to watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman.
This is not easy to talk about. On the 14th of December, James Gunn announced that he'll be making a brand new Superman without Henry Cavill, a move that came out of nowhere, especially after a month where Cavill returned to the role in Black Adam after a long hiatus and a lot of debate on whether or not he was coming back. And then it was taken away from us. I was originally going to do a character arc video on God of War, had a script written, just ready to be recorded, and then this news dropped, and now I just can't stop thinking about it. And I was going to do a Superman video eventually on this channel, because I genuinely love the character, and I loved Cavill as the character. So yeah, God of War can wait, I'm going to talk about Man of Steel. It's a little difficult to adapt a character like Superman, especially in the modern age, with many people viewing the character as out of touch and too perfect to tell a decent story. But I think that Zack Snyder, David Goyer, and Christopher Nolan were able to pull it off. In this movie, Superman goes through what K.M. Weiland refers to as the positive change arc, where he has to overcome a lie that he's been living his entire life. And when it comes to his arc in the movie, the theme surrounding it is progression versus tradition. The movie opens with Superman's literal origin, his birth, a moment that we eventually learn went against the culture of Krypton. You see, Krypton has this strict society where its citizens are grown Matrix style and everyone is given a designated role in society from birth, a system that's been going on for millennia. In other words, Krypton is engulfed in tradition, but this tradition has led to their planet's ensured destruction. So Superman's natural birth completely goes against the traditions of Krypton. He's something new, something that can break away from the status quo that has led to Krypton's destruction. Superman represents progress. This is even shown through his interactions with others. Just about anyone Superman interacts with who's against him originally begins to open up to him, from his high school bullies to even the military. He wins them over through his brave actions and compassion, bringing out the best in other characters, showing just how much he represents progress. But first, he needs to progress himself.
People are afraid of what they don't understand.
Is she right? Did God do this to me?
When we see Superman on Earth, he's lost and alone, trying to lay low and find where he comes from, but having to drift from place to place due to his instinct to save people. This is his current tradition. He clearly feels a need to help people but can't commit to it because of the lie he believes, that because he's not from Earth, he's not a part of Earth. We see flashbacks to his past where he feels like an outcast, where he feels like he doesn't belong, where he feels wounded, which fuels this lie that he doesn't belong and his want to figure out where he comes from, to find those who are just like him and possibly could accept him, even though those people are right at home. Superman's need is to let go of that part of himself that wants to be cut off from society, the side of himself that's holding back his progress. It's easy to blame Jonathan Kent for this, as he wants Clark to keep that side of himself a secret, but I don't think that's fair. I mean, yeah, Jonathan doesn't want people to know about Clark, but he also knows that's inevitable. He wants Clark to reveal himself when the time is right, when Clark is ready to take on the world and face the scrutiny that he will inevitably have to face. He even sacrifices himself to this belief because he knows Clark isn't ready, but knows that one day he will be. Everything Jonathan does is out of love for his son. So when Clark finally finds the old Kryptonian ship and is able to talk to his biological father, who then tells him about what happened to his people, how Krypton once thrived as a culture but then regressed to the point of self-destruction, he's able to gain some clarity in his life. Maybe not the clarity he's looking for, but definitely the type he needs. He sees how he can take the gifts given to him by Krypton, gifts that he's viewed as a curse, and use them to better himself, culminating in one of the most uplifting scenes in a modern superhero movie. He's finally accepting a side of himself that he's shunned for years, and is able to be his most complete self. The first half of the movie is about Superman learning to trust in himself, which in turn allows him to finally start trusting others. He's beginning to get over the lie that he's not a part of Earth. Clark starts this off by opening up to Lois Lane, a reporter that he saved earlier in the film who is determined to make a story about him. His willingness to trust her with his story is rewarded with loyalty, because again, Clark brings out the best in others through his actions. And then he visits his mum, someone he probably hasn't seen in years after his dad's passing. He's beginning to let others in and embracing that human element of himself. But then, things are really going to be shaken up from here.
Kal-El, I say this. Surrender within 24 hours. Or watch this world suffer the consequences.
If Superman represents progression and potential, then we have the flip side of that in the antagonist of the movie, General Zod. Zod's a man who was born and raised to be a soldier. This undying loyalty to his people is what causes the rift between him and the World Council, resulting in his coup attempt at the start of the movie. But Zod is essentially a part of that same system. As much as he wants to save his people, he can't let go of those values that his home holds dear, the same values that led to its destruction. Zod represents tradition. And because of Zod's dedication to tradition, the very thought of Superman's existence is seen as disgraceful. It's why he reacts like this when he finds out about him.
Heresy! Destroy it!
It's why they clash throughout the whole movie. It's why the fight between them can only end in one way. It's fitting that Zod comes into Superman's life when he's beginning to let go of the lie that he's not a part of Earth. Zod is basically a manifestation of that lie trying to force his way into Superman's life. This can be seen when Zod comes to Earth and threatens the planet with violence unless they give Kal-El to him. It forces humanity to resort to its most problematic traits. Fear and paranoia. The media pushes for Kal-El to surrender himself to Zod almost immediately after the message is broadcast, and the military arrests Lois since they know she's aware of who Kal-El is. This is the kind of fear that Superman was afraid of. But Superman takes that leap of faith, trying to trust humanity with its own salvation. He surrenders himself to Zod, and their first meeting speaks volume for their upcoming conflict. Superman instantly begins to feel ill because he's not used to the Kryptonian atmosphere. You can see this as Zod's traditional atmosphere literally rejecting Superman. And then Zod explains his plan to destroy Earth, a world full of progressive potential, in order to rebuild Krypton exactly the way it was. And this does not go down well with Superman. He can't allow the mistakes of the past to repeat themselves. The whole fight between Zod and Superman is centered around their polarizing ideologies, with Superman believing in progress and Zod believing in tradition. But Superman comes out on top and stops Zod's plan through his progressive nature. He allies himself with the military types that recently hated him, and working alongside them helps them take down the Kryptonians. While he's dealing with the World Engine in the Indian Ocean, they're fighting Zod's ship in Metropolis, a thriving human civilization being repeatedly pummeled to death in order to make room for the traditional Krypton. Which leads to this amazing scene right here. Superman is being forced down by the Change Engine, a machine forcing the harsh traditions of Krypton onto Earth. But Superman, representing progress and positive change, fights against it, and with all his might he flies right through it, destroying it in a glorious fashion, and allowing the military to successfully finish their mission. But the movie culminates in a final fight between Superman and Zod, with Superman destroying the Kryptonian ship. Zod pleads with him not to do it. Superman hesitates for only a second before announcing,
Krypton had its chance!
and completely destroys the ship. A difficult decision, but one that ensures that the mistakes of Krypton don't infect the people of Earth. And then this happens.
My soul. That is what you have taken from me.
Superman and Zod battle it out in the final fight between progress and tradition. It's a destructive, powerful fight between two ideologies. Zod has nothing left to lose, any ambition in bringing back the old Krypton is gone, and all he wants to do is destroy Earth, resulting in the final test for Superman's devotion.
If you love these people so much, you can mourn for them.
Zod tries to kill a human family. Superman begs him to stop, but he won't, forcing him to make the hard choice. He kills Zod, officially stopping tradition from getting in the way of progress, a decision that's not taken lightly. Throughout this video, it seems like I've been knocking tradition, which I'm not really trying to do. Tradition can be a good thing, to remind people of where they're from, and a way for younger generations to honor those who came before them. Superman even represents this. He's following his own path the way his adopted parents wanted him to, and he wears Kryptonian clothing to honor the sacrifice of his biological parents. But when tradition becomes harmful to those practicing it, or harmful to those around the ones practicing it, much like Krypton's, then it becomes a problem. That's the kind of tradition Zod represents. and what Superman is trying to move past. The movie ends with Superman taking on the role of Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for the Daily Planet, with Lois Lane knowingly giving him the line,
"Welcome to the planet."
a show of him being accepted for once into society. This movie got a lot of flack when it first came out. It was called too flashy and hollow, but I really have to disagree with that. This is truly an amazing movie that takes a classic superhero and reimagines him in a modern environment, while still keeping true to his core beliefs. In that regard, the whole movie is about progress over tradition. It holds to the core values of Superman, while still breaking away from what we perceive as a Superman movie. There's no reliance on nostalgia here, only a fresh take on a classic character. I started off writing this video in a very angry mindset, angry that we weren't going to see this version of Superman progress, and I have a strong feeling this new Superman movie will in fact rely heavily on nostalgia, much like other franchises today. But to be honest, having done this video, I'm just happy we even got a movie like this. One that tries to be its own thing while still respecting what came before. Henry Cavill may no longer be wearing a cape, but he will always be my Superman. Hey guys, thank you for watching. This will be the last video I post this year, so Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. What do you think about Henry Cavill leaving? Please leave a comment. Also, feel free to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon for more notifications, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day.